Morning, everyone. Pleasure to be here with you. Going to kick off this talk, the era of financial innovation and disruption, by posing a question. And this was a question posed to me a few months ago. And actually, at the end, I'd be quite keen to understand your answer to this question. But the question was, what does the world of money look like in the future for today's 5-year-olds? A very open question, can have all sorts of answers to it. And when I was posed this question on stage, I kind of only had a few minutes to formulate an answer. But this was my response to this question. And the response was, today's 5-year-olds won't call it crypto, they'll just call it money. And I think part of the reason all of us are here is we probably do believe in this statement. So what I wanted to do really today was just take us through what the answer might be, what the future might look like, and what are we doing as part of building that future. And I think one of the really exciting things about the world we're in today, and those of us that get to play in the crypto space, is that we are part of building that future. And I'd like to also touch on, during this presentation, what BCB is doing as part of that. But before we dive into that, I thought it'd be helpful to just stop and think about what money is. Probably not something we do because we're so used to just working with money, handling money, paying for things, etc. But what actually is money? So obviously we know that money helps us trade goods and services. It's a way for us to communicate price. It's a unit of an account that we can all rally around. And it is the way that we all accept today as the way of payment. But that's not always been the case. Throughout history, we've used different forms of money, and the way we've used money has evolved. So given that we have a history of money that's evolved, one of the things that I think we can answer is that we are in another stage of evolution. Another definition to just point out here, difference between money and currency. So money itself is an intangible concept, but currency is the physical realization of money. And we all see that with our dollars, our pounds, our euros, etc. And before we try and answer the question and look forward, it's always helpful sometimes to take a look in the rear view mirror. What actually is the history of money? And when I was preparing for this talk, I did a bit of research, which was quite interesting. So money's been around for about 5,000 years. Before that, as human beings, we used the system of bartering. Obviously, in parts of the world, that still continues today. But it's evolved over a period of time. After we introduced money, a type of currency developed in the early days. We traded spice, we traded metals, we traded weapons, skins, etc. And the first actual coin appeared around 600 BC. And it was in Lydia. King Aliates minted what is believed to be the first official currency, the Lydian stater. In 1260, it was the Chinese that introduced paper money. And so paper money came onto the scene, and actually the Chinese developed a very sophisticated monetary system similar to the ones we see today. In Europe, however, we continued to use coins as the main form of currency until the 16th century. And flipping back to paper money, it was actually banks that were the first to introduce banknotes as representations of metal coins to make it easier for customers to carry money around. Governments became involved around about 1700s, and it was actually the colonial governments in North America Canada being the first that issued paper currency. And that was done because coins had to be shipped from Europe. Obviously, there was a period of time for those coins to arrive. So in lieu of that, they issued paper money. And so we see the evolution of money. And today, we're in a world of mobile payments, and obviously what we're all here to talk about, virtual currency. So after that little history lesson, in order to answer the question, we're looking at through one lens, which is how has money evolved? Another lens, quite important lens, that we can look at this through is how technology has evolved. And here we can draw on the internet. In the late 90s, early 2000s, the internet came about, and we as human beings learned how to move information in real time across a distributed network of computers. The internet has evolved far beyond that, obviously. It's disrupted many industries, from commerce to travel to films to music, etc. So over the last 20 plus years, we've seen this network grow and evolve and bring about all sorts of change in our society. So when we look at the future of money, on the one hand, we know that money changes over time, how we use it and the forms of it. And then in the other lens, we look at it through is technology and how the internet's evolved. And who would have imagined that 20 years ago, a guy selling books on the internet would one day build rocket ships to take us to Mars? And that change has happened in the last 20 years. Not a huge amount of time, but a rapid amount of change. And so if we cast the lens forward to today, to our world, we've learned how to move information, we've learned how to move content, and to do that we copy bits of data from A to B. But now we're in a world of moving value, and moving value is very different because we can't copy value. We have to physically move those bits of data. And the underlying technology that helps us do that, as we all know, is blockchain. And the application running on it, cryptocurrency, was the first of its kind. Moving value happens by recording a transaction on a ledger, on a public ledger, and the parties signing that transaction to move that value. And so that's the foundation for this new form of money, arguably. Now, I'm sure we're all familiar with this book, The Bitcoin Standard. If you've not read it, it gives a very good overview and provides context for Bitcoin and how Bitcoin sits within the ecosystem of money. The events of 2008 brought about Bitcoin, and arguably it's shown us the way to the world we're in today. It's long past being an experiment, and in the prologue, Safety Amoose, who wrote this book, gives a very good, simple explanation of Bitcoin. It's distributed software that allows the transfer of value over the blockchain. Many other aspects to Bitcoin, but this has been the start of the journey for us in terms of the next wave of innovation of money. At BCB, we do believe in this new era of money and in a new era of money management, but we like to think of it in a different way. So I'll talk a bit more about us in a second, but we think about a world where we can help our customers, we can help people store money, move money, earn on their money, swap their money. And I won't go into detail, we provide a range of services around this, but in this new world of financial applications, in this new world of money, we're also thinking about how we actually interact with that money and even the terminology that we use around it. And one of the questions I think we ask ourselves is, will crypto replace fiat currency? Fiercely debated. Our view is that fiat and crypto will coexist for a number of years. And just as we saw with the evolution of the internet, we think there's going to be a period of evolution where government money and cryptocurrency sits alongside each other. How long that's going to take, we don't really know, but we are going to see this phase of different forms of money existing for a period of time. And our job here is to build applications and use cases in this new world of money. When it comes to innovation, one of the probably the most exciting parts of financial innovation is DeFi, decentralized finance. Obviously, it's something I'm sure we've all participated in or we have views on, but here at BCB, this is a really fascinating area for us. I'll talk a bit more about what we're doing in this space, but I wanted to highlight this as perhaps a beacon of what the future of money looks like. If we were to pick an area in our industry right now where there are a lot of exciting things going on, I'd say this is probably the space that we would identify. The key thing with DeFi, as we all know, is that along with the overall, I guess, revolution that we're seeing, where intermediaries are gradually being moved out of the system, and we're able to trade directly with one another, we're able to swap money directly with one another. That's essentially what DeFi does, is it removes the control that banks and financial institutions have on money. It also makes it easier for us to access that money and put that money to work. And I'll show a couple of examples in a moment. We spend a lot of time here at BCB reviewing projects, looking at protocols, trying to identify what are the next best things out there and what are the projects and the protocols that make sense for our customers and that can deliver real value. So DeFi is a really important area for us. Just a couple of examples, and I'm sure there's actually many more I could put up here. But this is one that our labs team has had a hand in building out. Mango Markets, really exciting new marketplace. I've highlighted the lending and borrowing use case here. That's probably the most common example of DeFi that we can think of. And when we think about how this has evolved, we've really not developed anything new in terms of financial engineering. This is an upgrade to the money markets. It's an upgrade in terms of how we can access it. It's an upgrade in terms of ease of use. And depending on how the market's operating at the time, it's an upgrade in terms of the returns that customers can get from the various DeFi projects and protocols that are out there. Mango happens to be a really interesting market. If you've not had a look at it, take a look. Another example, taking a different model of financial engineering, is decentralized fund management. With this protocol, Investin. This is something we've been looking at and have quite a bit of interest in. This is a way for us as customers to access a range of funds. And the way it works is I can go on to investing, I can set up a fund, I can run that fund, and other folks can invest in my fund. Super easy to connect to, just connect my wallet, off I go. So in the world of fund management, there's no paperwork, there's no fund manager I need to talk to, there are no forms I need to fill in, paperwork I need to receive back, etc., etc. I can just get going with my wallet, research the funds that I want to enter into, off I go. So we do believe in this new era of money and money management. And whilst we don't know what that future looks like, we're certainly on the journey of trying to build out some of that future. and also working with others who are also doing the same. Just a quick bit on us. I know I haven't introduced us. I just want to drop this in. So we were formed in 2017, started as a Bitcoin broker, but we've evolved into being the company that provides banking and payment services to the crypto industry. We're based in London and in Zurich. We're regulated in both of those spaces. And actually, one of the aspects of building out this new world of money is that we're doing this in a regulated way. And that in itself, combining the traditional world of finance with the new world of crypto, is a balance. And that's a balance that we tread as an institution, and hopefully bringing to market products that work for the regulator, that work in the traditional world, but bring into that world the great things that are happening in the crypto space. And as an organization, we see it as our job to support all of our customers who are part of this new world of financial innovation. So our customers are the exchanges, the market makers, traders, etc., all of whom we provide services to. So I did touch on DeFi, and there was a reason for focusing on DeFi. Like I said, DeFi probably provides the strongest beacon yet of what that future world looks like for the 5-year-olds of today. And we've sought a way to incorporate that new world into more traditional forms of financial management. Earlier this year, we launched our BCB Yield product. The value proposition of this product is that we have provided a vehicle through which we can run various market-neutral strategies using CeFi and DeFi, multiple currencies, including crypto. It's our way of providing an ability for our customers to earn on their money, using the terminology that I mentioned before. And we can provide that in a way that gives our customers different risk and reward profiles, using the underlying DeFi protocols, some of the examples I showed you, and more, such as Maple Finance and others that we're looking at, just as examples, and with CeFi partners such as B2C2. So a real range of underlying strategies. The way we've done this, we set up an investment vehicle. For those of you familiar with the fund management industry and business, ours is an open-ended investment scheme. It's based in Luxembourg. And the reason we went down this route is we wanted to provide a structured vehicle that was understandable for both traditional finance and for the crypto world. The great thing with this vehicle is it has the ability to become regulated. It sits under the oversight of the CSSF, which is the Luxembourg regulator. And like I said, we can run any number of strategies through this fund. So as and when we identify new projects, new protocols, new partners, our team spends thousands of hours researching those projects, researching those companies, meeting the teams, understanding the underlying protocols when it comes to DeFi, and we put it through a framework. Once it passes that framework, BCB puts its own money into those before we allow our customers to. So we do a lot of the work to try and identify, of all the great things out there, what would make sense and provide value to our customers. And that saves them a huge amount of time doing that themselves, and we can provide a wrapper for that through our BCB Yield product. We launched earlier this year with CeFi. We're about to launch the DeFi component of that. And the great thing with that is, with DeFi, there are any number of ways for us to generate returns for our customers. And as we all know, with DeFi, what we're doing is we're bringing together the capital providers and the capital consumers in a super easy way. And through the fund, it's easily accessible by any of our customers. They can just go through into their console, and they can get access to any number of ways to generate a return on their money. So that was just one example of how we're building out new types of products, leveraging all the great things that are happening in our space. The other one that I want to highlight here is something called Blink. Blink is our rather long kind of name for it, Liquidity Interchange Network Consortium. What does this mean? So when we started serving customers, helping them move their money around, as we know in the world of crypto, crypto is 24/7, 365. Banks and money movement is not. So if I'm a trader in New York and I need to fund my account and exchange on a Saturday night and I need to move 20 million, how do I do that? Well, there was no way to do that. So we created the Blink network. The Blink network is something many of our customers use today to move money in real time, any time of the day or night, and settle that with other counterparties on the network. And that network runs, like I say, 24/7, 365. There's no limit on the amount that can be sent on that network. And like I say, settles instantly, and we support multiple currencies on that network. For those of you who are familiar with banks in the US, Silvergate and Signature, they have similar networks. And the types of customers that I mentioned all use this network to move their money around. So we're building out applications that serve the new world of money. In this case, we still need to move that money around, fiat money, to support the trading activities that go on in our world. And that's what the Blink network allows us to do. Instant settlement, multiple ways to bring your money on and off the network. 8 currencies supported today, more in the future. And one of the key things with this network, we don't believe in charging for money moving on the network. So there are no fees for using the Blink network. So we very much believe that the world of money is changing. We do think it's going to look very different from today. DeFi probably does give us a little pointer as to what that world might look like. And I'm sure many of us in this room are part of building out that new world, and it's quite exciting to be part of that. One thing is for sure, it's hard to predict what that future looks like, but if the internet is a model for what the future looks like, imagine where we'll be in 20 years' time with all of the different things that we're building today. So thank you very much for listening. We do have time for questions, and I would actually, if anyone is brave enough, I would actually be interested in what your answer might be to the question. If there are any brave souls in the audience, please make yourself known.
Hi. Were you able to avoid the USD anchor, crash? And how do you manage risk in DeFi when things are very easily, they can break very quickly?
Great question. So before we even enter into any project, we spend a lot of time looking at it. And there are projects which we won't go anywhere near because either the risk is too high, or we've identified that there are some aspects to the project that don't look like they work. And we're very careful to steer clear of those. So we do set a bar of what good looks like for us, and we stick with that.
Hi. In terms of getting involved in these projects, are you talking about investing in them, kind of helping to mold them, getting involved with the teams behind them, or just using kind of the functionality they provide as part of those DeFi or CeFi products? I'm just kind of interested in understanding how that works.
Yeah, mainly it's not getting involved with the project itself. It's reviewing them, it's looking at them, it's putting our money into them. So that's mainly where we spend our time. And there's a lot of work that goes in. I mean, we've got a long list of projects that we're looking at, and everyone wants to be out there. But to the earlier gentleman's point, we do need to take our time to look at these.
I guess kind of building off his point too, what like qualifies a good project for you? Like what are kind of the main indicators you're looking for?
There's a few things. So I think the first thing that stands out for us is the team. We want to meet the team. We want to understand the vision, what you guys are, looking to achieve. Does that match with ours? Are we on the same path? And then we dive in. Our tech guys take a look. That's one aspect. Look at the protocol, security, how things set up. What's the maths behind it? What's the thinking behind it? And we got some, great experts within BCB. We don't build our own, but we like to look at others and see, what's the best out there that we can bring to the market on behalf of those projects.
Very cool. Thank you.
And does anyone want to answer the what does the world look like for today's 5-year-olds? If not, thank you very much. I think if there are no more questions, really appreciate you guys being here and for listening to us. If you do have more questions, myself and my colleague Greg at the back, we're around, so do come and find us.
Yeah, let's all give Chris a big thank you for that wonderful presentation.